Good day. Welcome to Inside the Caribbean. I'm Hume Johnson. Guyanese President Barrett Jagdeo is appealing to Western nations to do more to combat money laundering. He says Western countries have failed to address the problem in their own jurisdictions while pressing the Caribbean to enact a wide range of laws and regulations. President Jagdeo says Guyana will not continue to enact laws that make the financial services sector of the Caribbean unattractive. He told an annual meeting of the Association of Caribbean Indigenous Banks that regional states should make sure that they don't have a movement of illegal money across their jurisdictions. But he warns against these countries legislating themselves out of competitiveness. President Jagdeo describes the U.S. as a major center for money laundering due to the demand for illegal drugs there. And he says a lot of hot money was circulating in London from tax evasion originating in Britain. A serious challenge has been issued to regional governments. Chairman of Digicel wants governments to step back and let the business community run companies now controlled by state agencies.
With interests in telecoms, radio, property, aircraft leasing, just to name a few, when it comes to business, Dennis O'Brien can truly say, been there, done that. Today, he's giving this advice to regional governments.
First of all, leave business alone. Stay away from business because governments should be out of business. Governments should be encouraged to get rid of regulation. The Caribbean is tied up in regulation just like the European community is and just like Ireland is.
O'Brien says governments should deregulate electricity, transport, gas, airports and other businesses because, in his words, they're adding nothing to these sectors. He also called on Caribbean governments to introduce radical policies to reduce CO2 emissions and urgently adopt green legislation.
They all talk about it, politicians, but they're not doing much. They should hold the Parliament in situ and feed them food and water for a month until they bring in the legislation and not let them out the door, give them sandwiches and sleeping bags. In every country in the Caribbean and in Europe, it's not going to happen until they bring this legislation in.
As for CARICOM, O'Brien is of the view that the regional grouping should be expanded to make it more like the European Union, and he's a strong advocate for ease of travel within the region.
And this idea of filling in forms on a 20-minute flight is just ridiculous, okay, at the end of the day.
The Digicel boss also called for innovation in education, saying the time has come to give laptops to every child over the age of 8 and make broadband available to every Caribbean household. And he pointed to what he calls real opportunities for Caribbean businesses in green tourism, retirement tourism, medical tourism, plastic surgery, building and construction, the retail sector, call center businesses, property development, and financial services. Desmond Brown, CMC News.
6 Caribbean countries have received $36.7 million in new grants from the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. The funding is part of a $1.1 billion package to be handed out over the next 2 years by the United Nations-backed agency. The announcement of funding for Jamaica, Cuba, Guyana, Suriname, the Dominican Republic and Haiti came after a meeting of the fund's board in China. Projects devoted to tackling AIDS account for 48% of approved proposals this year. Malaria projects comprise 42% and tuberculosis projects 10%. Jamaica received the biggest slice of Caribbean funding, $15.2 million, for improving its program for HIV treatment, care, and prevention. In sports, St. Kitts Warner Park Cricket Stadium will host 2 one-day internationals between Australia and the West Indies in July next year. According to the Caribbean Media Corporation, CMC, the final 2 one-day internationals will be played at Warner Park on July 4 and 6. The touring Australians arrive in the Caribbean for the 2008 Digicel Home Series on May 12. They will play the first test at Sabina Park in Jamaica from May 22 to 26. The second test will be played at the Vivian Richards Stadium in Antigua from May 30 to June 3. The third test will be played in Barbados at the Kensington Oval from June 12 to 16. And as the World Netball Championships continue in New Zealand, Trinidad and Tobago had a 42-32 victory over Singapore. Barbados, on the other hand, was stunned by newcomers Botswana 44-43.
Devastation for Trinidad and Tobago, who dropped down to the bottom 8 of the tournament, while Samoa will go on to play Jamaica in the quarterfinals.
It was a really tough physical match for us because we knew Trinidad was in the same position as us. They really wanted it. They had a better score difference to Australia than what we did, so we knew that they were going to be extremely tough.
Jamaica is looking forward to the knockout stage of the tournament.
As I said yesterday on my last interview, we're taking each game step by step, and as we move on to this game, we were coming out, playing hard, playing tough netball, and we wanted to win this game, so we went out there and we did our very best and tried to pull up each quarter, a stronger, harder game every day.
I'm very confident, and I'm staying with my confidence with these girls. I've been with them for quite a while now, and I know of their capability, I know of our struggle, and I've seen where they have developed and that they have actually turned it around. We didn't start well when we get together, but we are putting everything together and we are peaking at the right time. I know that we'll be a force to reckon when it comes semi-finals time.
Jamaica has a rest day today ahead of their quarterfinal clash with Samoa tomorrow. And those are the stories inside the Caribbean today. On behalf of the entire production team here at JNN, I'm Hume Johnson. Thank you for watching.